What's up, everybody? Welcome to the 21 Generals Leader Nomination Tournament number 1. I am Delthius. I've got sitting here at the desk with me, AV Ultima. What's going on, man?
Hey, dude, it's good to hear your voice. Glad to be here.
Hey, likewise. Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. If anybody is unaware, we are actually doing this on the PTR. So a little bit of a wrench in the gears. I'm interested to see how these players are going to deal with some of these changes. We got this guy. Let me see while we set this up. Give me 1 second here. It's Rush. Okay. So in the first match... Hang on a second. Let me see. Trying to coordinate with the gents here a little bit on who we're actually going to stream in the first round. How you been doing, man?
You know what? Pretty great. Holiday's been nice. It was good and chill, hanging out with people.
Are you still DMing?
Oh yeah.
You know that's the first thing I got to bring up.
Yeah, isn't that the last thing we talked about during the last tournament? But I believe we just finished up our 24th session a few days ago.
Nice.
With 25 coming up in a week. Are you still DMing with your group?
Yes. We are on session 15 or 16, I believe. And awesome. We got another one. We actually did a New Year's Eve session where they had like a big... One of my players is a bard, so they did like a big festival in the city. And like she actually wrote a 16-page script, and like everybody acted out a part in it. It was really fun.
Nice.
So I think we're actually going with another game in round 1. Gent recommends we stream Jacoby's game instead. He thinks that'll be a little more entertaining. So give me 1 second, guys. While we wait, let me think. What else has been going on? So basically we're starting the 21 Generals here. We've got this tournament today, and we've also got another one tomorrow, which is going to be casted by WoodyPun7 over on twitch.tv/WoodyPun7, aka Big Pimpintosh. And the 21 Generals event is, I guess this is the official kickoff for it. So I'm really happy, excited about that. It's going to be crazy. Like, the gentlemen's tournaments are insane. We did an hour-and-a-half video the other night just explaining the rules, and it's really cool. It's like a board game, essentially, but instead of rolling dice to resolve like who wins engagements and stuff, we play games of Tooth and Tail instead. So I think I've almost bought enough time rambling on here as we're
and we're also playing on the PTR, which is nice considering gonna get hopefully some good data for Eel to use.
Absolutely. So actually, if you don't mind, pop open that unit discussion pinned message and talk a little bit about those changes while I do some of this background stuff.
Pinned message. Oh, perfect. Oh, so we got a daze for slow down by 10% per stack. I assume this is for the mines?
Yep.
Daze effect is slowly stacking, yes.
I wonder if that's mines and snake, because now the snake has that. I don't know if that's considered daze. I guess I should. Yeah, no, it is. It is.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's fascinating.
Yeah, so the landmine and the snake are both getting I guess that change is going to make it to where once you get tagged by a snake, you're not immediately like super slowed down. It takes a couple tags, I guess. Okay, so we've got Lego Man in here. We just need Jacoby. Should be on the way. And another one of the I think the big changes here are going to be the chameleon and the toad. The chameleons and toads have been rocking it pretty hard in the competitive scene lately. And I'm curious, it's crazy when we like fine-tune numbers like this. You probably know that better than anyone being here since the start, you know, like have you ever seen when, I don't know, this is a perfect example, like chameleon's going from 36 to 34 HP, and then you have players that are like, oh, it's unplayable now, you know? It's like, come on, man. 2 HP?
100%. I mean, there was, I think this might have been during a tournament, or in the very least, it was a patch that made lizards go up by, it was just like 1 or 2 HP, and then it was maybe halfway into the first game where we thought, yeah, this is not going to work because this just won't die. I mean, every HP point matters.
Absolutely. Especially at small numbers, you know. Like, that can make a huge difference. But what are the big... Let me think. So we've got the Toad change, which is pretty... honestly, I think that might be the biggest change, in my opinion. Like, going from 2 damage to 2 damage from 3 for the AoE. I mean, you're talking, I guess, 4 hits of AoE to kill a squirrel now instead of 3, which could make a difference. But we've got the players here, so I think we successfully bought enough time. We are on a 1-minute delay.
Got it.
Just FYI for the chat. Let me see. Oh no. Where's my controller? Oh, geez. Hang on 1 second.
Okay. Man, I feel like Toad crit structure has been off and on for years now. Like, we're going to do it. You know what? Let's roll that back. No, let's try it again. An idea that we keep coming back to.
What's that? I'm sorry. I did get my controller, but I ran away for a second.
The Toad crit on structures. I feel like we keep coming back to that over and over again. Like, oh, let's do it. Let's roll that back. Or
Man, I don't know if I'm a big fan of a structure crit. I'm going to take a stand and say that, because then, like, units like turrets, you know, they just get railed over real quickly by the guys like the moles or the boars or the toads that can crit those structures down. So, just my 2 cents, but...
Are moles still structure crit?
Yeah, moles,
okay.
Moles and boar. Boars just melt structures, but it's not as big of a deal. Like, I thought that change would get reverted like crazy fast, but we haven't seen it being super impactful, in my opinion. I mean, there are games where, I mean, how do I say this? Like, if a boar is at your main base, torching all your structures, it's not a good thing already, you know? Does it really matter that those structures die a little faster? Anyways, here we go, guys. Match number 1. This is a best of 3, single elimination in round number 1. Over on the left side, we've got Lego Man spawning in as the KSR, and over on the right, we've got Jacoby representing those common folk. And a nice little short map to start things off with today.
Yeah, I know.
You can
Actually, I really like Lego Man's positioning here. Also, that back base is fully protected if he wants to go for that. Both of them, in fact. This is nice for him.
Do these farm positions trigger you? Do you see over on the right, I think they changed it to where they're no longer always touching. You know, like the starting farms?
Is that the case? Cause
yeah, like look at
Lego Man's farms start together?
Look at Jacoby's farms. Oh, it's too late now, but they all like he started off with a farm, I think, in like every corner, which actually could open up, as small of a change as it sounds like, it could open up the door for some rushes again, you know, like 1 or 2 lizards or a mole getting in there and attacking 1 pig, because 1 pig shooting back is a big difference between like 2 or 3.
So to clarify, every game the pigs start at each corner?
No, I think that's just what it was. I think the pig spawning on the PTR is random now. Whereas before, I think they were all like spawning in an L formation. You know what I mean?
I see what you mean. Sure, yes.
Oh, look at this little ledge over here for a mole warren. Let's see if Jacoby scouts that out. That could potentially get a nice pig kill there. So far, he hasn't seen it. But all he has to do is run on this high ground right south of his base. He doesn't even have to run on that specific one. Oh, it was so close to going up there, but he didn't do it. Is Lego Man gonna get away with this?
Oh, wonder if any point
there it is.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, man. The 1 mole just inched out. That's unfortunate for Lego. Like, I was watching Jacoby's vision, and he had no idea. But when the mole spawned, I guess when the second mole spawned, it kind of pushed the first one down a little bit, you know?
Yeah, that's what I saw.
But pretty similar openings, I suppose. Both players going for the skunks. I guess the only difference here is Jacoby being a little more greedy with an additional tier 2 and a second base. But we'll see.
Yeah, other than those moles, both players playing pretty passively right now.
Yeah, that was a nice little tiny victory for Jacoby, but Lego Man did end up selling off that Mole Warren, so he lost a couple bucks, but nothing game-breaking. So we're still pretty even here. I guess what we're waiting to see is if the players want to move out with a big attack or if they want to go into eco, and Lego Man pushing forward a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to say, I sort of feared that a high ground right next to the natural that he's currently taking, but he just went ahead and took the initiative and took it himself. And it looked like Lego Man was moving out at that moment as well, so...
Yeah, that's a good point. I think Lego Man actually wanted to try to secure that high ground first, but Jacoby moving in. One skunk gonna go down. Some good gas coverage here from both sides. Oh, that snake! The snake kills the falcon, but does go down. This is just a slaughter fest. Everybody's losing everything here.
Yeah, there was a scary moment there. That's good that he had those snakes out to take out that falcon, because that falcon stayed up almost that entire fight, just raining down fire.
All right, Jacoby won that first engagement. Gonna move back in and see if he can get a little more done. Gotta be careful to not overextend, but it's a rough balance, you know. You don't want to not push when you should. Oh, Hopper goes down. That's huge. Lego Man can clean up this skunk now, maybe, but he doesn't have any units left to really capitalize on that.
Oh, nearly. Oh!
There he goes. Nice pickup.
The skunk started going down the low ground and then got picked off there. Almost that entire fight, Lego Man had a supply block on this snake, so one didn't come out that entire time almost. So, considering he was down one squirrel warning compared to Jacoby, he didn't have the DPS to take out the one skunk.
Oh, that always feels bad because your money just keeps getting thrown into those tier 1 warrens, you know, every time you get 20 food, like when you're in a fight like that. So being supply blocked on a tier 2 can be really, really rough. This is looking good, though, for Jacoby. I really think the second base is the big deal here. Like, Lego Man's is super late. He's just getting it down right before the 5-minute mark. Gonna try to get back into this game with some snake harass, but yeah, so far this is looking really good for Jacoby. You know, he won those fights. He's got the better eco. Lego Man's not down and out yet. Maybe with a bit of snake harass, he can poke in, get a couple free units, try to get back into this.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, what do you think is Lego Man's strategy to get back into this? But I think really this potential snake harass if Jacoby decides not to go in anytime soon. But it's gonna take a while for Lego Man to try to recover here.
Yeah, I think the snake harass is a nice way to try to get back into it, but Jacoby's actually going for the Badger here, which is, as weird as it sounds, that might be good for Lego Man, because that's going to at least buy him a couple minutes before the push comes in. But he's got to scout that tier 3, or else it's just going to blindside him. He does get the scout in, but what can he really do? I mean, he can try to get a couple more snakes, but this is definitely a rough spot. Maybe something like a mole backstab, you know, placing some moles over in like the 2 o'clock, or I think you got to try to do something crazy like that at this point.
Do you think, considering that he's going for a Badger, that the second Skunk Warren is actually really unfortunate? He should probably have a second set of snakes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he'd much rather have the extra snakes here. And he didn't sell off the Skunk Warren, so maybe he's just thinking he's not going to have time to go into some more snakes. But there's actually another, you know, maybe the skunks will help, because there's kind of another train of thought against the Badger, which is eliminate everything else but the Badger. You know what I mean? All those supporting units, and then the Badger's just kind of by itself and a lot easier to deal with. But Jacoby doesn't have like a crazy amount of tier 1 or anything, so the 4 skunks does seem excessive. Gotta get something done with the snake harass here, but with the pigeons, it's gonna be rough, especially because Lego Man doesn't have high ground vision. And this is not looking good for Lego Man. A couple tier 2 going down right off the bat. Now the Badger's here. Ooh, I don't think the Badger was even needed, though, as Lego Man's army gets deleted.
Yeah, it looks like he hit a timing just before the Badger was coming out, but his army just wasn't as strong.
Yeah, not having high ground vision there really hurt, too, for trying to poke in and harass. But, you know, I don't think any of us are really surprised by the ending of this. You know, Jacoby took some really good fights early on. He had a really good build order. and seals the deal and takes match number 1. Bam. Update that scoreboard.
Yeah, frankly, at the end there, before the Badger came out, it was, I believe, Jacoby had 4 Falcons against 4 Skunks, and typically, that's not too bad. The Skunks can tank for some time, but if you don't even have the squirrel numbers to back up the tank, then you sort of just, sooner or later, lose the fight due to the DPS of the Falcons.
Alright, here we go. Match number 2. Spawning in the bottom, up 1 map, we've got Jacoby. And his opponent to the north, Lego Man. It looks like we got same deck comps here from these players. I'd love to see that Wolf at the board, man. That's always a really fun unit. Especially with things like Falcon can get some really insane DPS.
Do you find that more players use the Wolf for offensive means rather than defensive by getting eco up?
Yeah, it's hard because, you know, if you go, I guess it depends on the phase of the game, right? Like if you're gonna go for a 1 or 2 base Wolf and you're probably trying to hit a timing attack, whereas I think if you're sprinkling it in later on in like a bigger macro game, then you would use it more for eco. Does that make sense? Because I think like rushing it out early and then sitting back with it, we haven't seen that a lot. I'm not sure if it would be, you know, not be effective necessarily.
Yeah, I imagine in this case, like, I feel like the last game might have been a good chance to do that because the back bases were quite defendable. But here, each base is, you know, aggressively placed. So I do imagine if we do see a Wolf coming out, it will be aggressive. Yeah.
I think the big story of that last game was Lego Man just waited so long on that second base. You know, Jacoby did take the better fights, but he didn't take them by so much that it was game breaking. I think the real story there was that Jacoby had like 2 or 3 extra farms the whole time, you know, and just had so much more money.
Oh, and this time Lego Man going, oh no, deciding to sell actually.
Little switcheroo, and he did bait Jacoby into thinking he wants to go eco. You can see Jacoby there taking that expansion. But what a lovely expansion up there on the double high ground. You can't ask for better than that most of the time. Alright, so Lego Man looks like he wants to go for a skunk push. They're both just kind of playing mind games on the expos here. Taking them and selling them.
Yeah, I wonder if that would have been a great opportunity to try for a tier 1 push against his mill, but looks like Jacoby's going to instead do one of his own.
Yeah, this is a big all-in here from Jacoby. Let's see if it works out for him. Getting a lot of moles. Lego Man knows what's up, though. He's not caught with his pants down or anything. He is going to have a skunk out, which is going to help against all this tier 1. That Warren going to go down to those mole crits pretty fast, but the skunk should be able to hold things. Yeah, I mean, losing that Warren sucks, but you got to be happy with that defense if you're Lego Man.
Yeah, the skunk choice actually wasn't too bad, considering.
Yeah, now it leaves him, as long as he can hold this follow-up, it leaves him in a position where he's got the more technical army. But that's a lot of moles, man. Okay, Jacoby thinking it twice about it. So yeah, I like the position Lego Man's in. He's got the tier 2. He's got to feel happy about it. These mole warrens are going to have to be sold, which is going to make Jacoby lose a lot of tempo.
I know in the past that sometimes going all in on moles and not succeeding really sets you back. Is that different these days since you're able to, I guess, sell the Warren that, that'll be bad.
That makes it a lot worse, AV. But yeah, you're right. Like with the 60 food moles back in the day, you know, if you messed that attack up, that was basically game over. One skunk going down there, but I'm still not hating this for Jacoby. I mean, I'm sorry for Lego Man. I don't think Jacoby's in a terrible spot either, though.
There we go. Jacoby now getting his own tier 2 out with the Falcon. And he's got his farms going up. Oh, well, at the same time.
Yeah, let's see. That was a little bit of a better fight there for Lego. So he is in a bit of a lead, but Jacoby's catching up, you know. He's got his tier 2 out. And he's even got more tier 2. And we kind of have mirror comps going on here. So I'm curious if you want to stack. I think you stack a bunch of Falcons, right? You don't want to get too much tier 1 against those skunks.
Lego Man lacks the pigeons right now, but the extra squirrel warrens might make up for that. How do you feel about that? How important do you think the pigeon is to the composition that we see?
I think it would be really good to have at least one pigeon warren in to help buffer against that skunk gas. And I'm also a little bit worried about how many squirrels Lego Man's building against the skunks. What I'm super curious to see, though, is what the third tier 2 warren is. You know, like, do they double up on falcons or do they double up on skunks here? It looks like Lego Man wants to go falcons. I think that's a good play. Oh, and Jacoby going skunks, that actually makes sense for him as well because he's seen so many squirrels from Lego Man, you know? So this is cool. I like where this is going.
Yeah, we had some early engagements that didn't necessarily put anyone ahead, and now we're just sort of in another equilibrium.
Yeah, Lego Man took those slightly, like not a crazy, crazy advantage or anything. And Jacoby getting up that economy a little bit earlier also does help even it out. So yeah, we're approaching this like mid to later game fairly even. So it's going to come down to engagements, compositions, micro, maybe some crazy tactics. Or who's the bold one and gonna throw down that tier 3 unit first. This is almost like that quick draw Wild West scenario, with tier 3. It's like who's gonna do it? Lego Man floating some money. There it is.
Yeah, that would make sense to me that he would keep going additional Falcon because I think, as you mentioned earlier, souped up Falcons with Wolf is devastating. But deciding to go with a Snake Warren.
Okay, I'm a little bit worried for Lego Man now because Jacoby didn't scout the tier 3, but he kind of has that star sense tingling, and he builds a bunch of moles. And typically in modern Tooth and Tail, when you throw down the mole warrens like that, that means you're about ready to move in. And with Lego Man investing in this Wolf right now, that extra tier 1 might push Jacoby over the edge. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's just kind of rounding out his composition. Just feels like he wants his moles here for the tankiness on the front. I don't know. Lego Man would really like it about another minute before the attack happens. If Jacoby pushes out now, that's going to be huge for him. It looks like he is. Oh, this is the worst feeling as a tier 3 player. You're like, just give me 30 seconds, man. Come on. Oh, and Lego Man's not even in position here.
Oh, no.
Ouch. Oh, but Hopper goes down, but I don't even think it matters at this point. So much damage. Being in position is so important in Tooth and Tail. Falcon's going to clean up a little bit here, but now the commander's back. And the beginning of that engagement was just so good for Jacoby because Lego Man was out on a little bit of a scout about. Oof.
I don't know if there's any world, unfortunately, where Lego Man takes that fight, even if he was there, though. Very smart of Jacoby to go on the high ground there. Was perfect positioning.
Yeah, that was a really good angle to come in from, for sure. I think if Lego Man was there, he probably still would have lost, but he wouldn't have lost as hard, and then maybe the Wolf gets out and helps him out. And the Wolf is here, but Lego Man's got to win right now. Jacoby's economy is so far ahead since that gristmill went down. He's starving out. I don't blame Lego for playing it out. It is a tournament match,
And you never know. I've seen crazier things happen.
That's true. Comebacks are very real in this game. Alright, Jacoby moving in for the killing blow. Let's see if Lego Man can pull a rabbit out of the hat here.
Oh no.
And I think that is going to be round 1, ladies and gentlemen. Nice showing there from Jacoby. And I think we're rocking right into round 2 now. Once those players are ready. I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and get Red. Ooh. Do we want to watch Red Dino or do we want to watch Haru? Maybe I can let the chat decide. because
Put up a vote.
Those players are both seated for next thing. Oh, dude, I do have a... Man, I haven't used it in so long. We got a minute anyways. Let me see if I can figure it out. Figure out my bots and be a proper streamer here. So how's your game going, man? Talk about that while I'm doing some things here.
Oh yeah, going well. In fact, hopefully I'm allowed to. Shoutouts to Dimwitty here. He just finished up the soundtrack for Gunrunner, and we're implementing that right now. He is extremely talented. I highly suggest checking him out. His SoundCloud, and I think he is also working on a game of his own. So check that out as well.
Let me see. Okay, this is weird because I've kind of... Well, actually, I guess I could just straw poll it, right? Or...
Isn't there a built-in vote feature?
Is there? I have a betting feature. I'll get that going next time because that is fun to do. I have like a bet bot. Like I was gonna start a bet, but I'll just straw poll it. Let me see.
Well, we see Childs and Masters vote.
Oh yeah, they already talking about it. Let me see. Share.
They want to see Dino.
Bam, let's straw poll it. So you got a soundtrack now. That's exciting.
Yes. I met Will at a convention years ago, and he was really interested in Gunrunner, and then I brought him on to create some music.
Bam.
And he's not too bad at pixel art either.
I gotta find, I think I'm still in the beta, or the, what do you call it, alpha? Gunrunner, yes. Yes. Let me take a look.
Oh, wait. Am I allowed to vote in this straw poll?
Absolutely.
Let's go with that.
All right.
Oh, decisively.
I thought you were gonna at least vote for Haru, man. Come on. No, you're not allowed to vote now. Okay. Yes. So we're. Oh, whoops. Okay. It looks like we're gonna go into Dino next. If you want to share a link into your chat, into the chat or anything, man, feel free for the game, the Gunrunner.
I'll do that as well.
Yeah, get them in your Discord. Okay, so it looks like Dino is gonna be next. Let me bug him on Discord. Thank you everybody for tuning in as always. It's always a pleasure to hang out here, and thanks again, of course, AV, for casting with me. We gotta buy a little bit of time here as round number 1 finishes up. Oh, actually not a whole lot of time, because Kerpa finished his round 1 game, so we got Dino vs. Kerpa coming up next. Cool.
It's cool to see Pigson, I don't know, active again in the chat and playing some games.
Yeah, Pigson's an old school name. I agree. It's fun seeing people kind of come in and out. And who do we got? We got Mishi in the tournament as well.
And does Gentleman play these days? I know there was a tournament a while back that he won and then said he retired, but now I see him on and he's doing tournaments and
yeah. I said I retired too. I don't think you announced it, but I think you tried to retire.
No one ever truly retires from Tooth and Tail.
No, it's too fun. It's too fun to hang out, cast games, play games. So we got Dino vs. Kerpa coming up next. That's going to be a lot of fun. Another best of 3. We're on the PTR, so, you know, we didn't see... One thing that we can chat about a little bit is the beta at the moment is kind of really Mole, Toad, Chameleon heavy. And we didn't see a lot of those units last time. We didn't see the Toads or the Cams, and they both did suffer from that nerf. And again, Chameleon going from 34 to 36 HP, it's not just Tooth and Tail, it's any game. It'd be like a balance in StarCraft or something, Well, sometimes players overreact, and they'll be like, oh, it's terrible now. But, I don't know, man, 34 HP is still a lot.
Yeah, do we know, if at all, if these players have had any practice in the PTR right now? Or are they just going off of gut reactions at the moment?
I think it's mostly gut reaction. I think a couple of these guys have practice, but I think the intention, Gentleman's really involved, of course, and I think the reason we're on PTR is he kind of expected this patch to be live at this point, and I think we are expecting this patch to be live like during the 21 Generals regular season. And I think that's the decision why we're on the PTR now, if that makes sense. But yeah, no, I think it's mostly a grab bag, to be honest. I think most players probably haven't practiced a whole lot on this one. I mean, as weird as it sounds, one of the changes I'm most excited for is the farm change, because the 4 farm, 5 farm Warren openings, here we go, by the way, players selecting decks, but those are pretty mapped out to defend at this point, like if I'm a top level player, hold that thought, I'll save it for when I need to ramble on again. In the bottom left, we've got the Dino, and his opponent over the right, we've got Kerpa, and here we see some of those Chameleons and Toads back into it. But yeah, what I'm excited for is the farm change, because like look at Kerpa's base, for example, that top left farm. Imagine Dino opens up with like a 4 farm lizard or something. 1 or 2 lizards can get in there and knock that pig out. And overall, I just think that it could possibly open up some early aggressive build orders, which is always a lot of fun to see. Speaking of which, Kerpa being a little cheeky.
I agree, but it's almost like a toss-up. In the last game, we didn't see either player go lizards, and I guess for that early lizard play to work, you would have to hope that you got the RNG to get that single off farm. And I guess too early in the tournament to tell, but if players even want to go lizard here.
Yeah, here we go. Kerpa's committing to this. He's getting a second Mole Warren, so he's doubling down. And, lizards are kind of in an interesting spot. They are a little bit better than they have been in the past. Oh, he's got 4 of them together. This is a serious amount of moles. Definitely going to get that 1 pig. But can he keep them all alive? Actually, he does. He doesn't get the full refund for selling them off because they weren't full HP. But overall, I like that opening from Kerpa. I think that was effective.
And as a note, is it Dino or Dino?
I think it's Dino. Like
Dino,
it's
okay.
shortened from. He used to go by Red Dinosaur. You're thinking Italian mob guy here, man. Dino.
I was thinking Flintstones.
Oh yeah, Flintstones too. Fair enough.
If Dino had have gone lizards, he probably would have been back at Kerpa's base for a counterattack much sooner than this. But now we're just seeing sort of an upfront squirrel versus squirrel battle here. But still, sort of. Going around the mines, seeing them go down, now being able to take out a farm of his own, maybe?
Oh
no.
So close. That feels bad, man. Like, that's the worst when you commit those extra squirrels and don't quite get the farm. Yeah, really smart play going around those mines. And as you said, the lizards would have been more effective there. It would have been cool to see him build them. I think the reason he didn't, though, was he built those squirrels like under the pressure of that mole attack, And lizards just kind of get railed on by those moles. So let's see how they want to play this out. Kerpa's definitely ahead, and I even like that he sold those mines off, not letting that food sit around. But actually, no wait, it's barbed wire. Yeah, barbed wire is only 10 now. Okay. For some reason, for a second, I thought mines got changed to 10 food, which would be insane. That should not happen. So we got tier 2 coming in for both sides. Kerpa grabbing that expo as well. And yeah, I like this opening from Kerpa a bit better. I think the Chameleons are going to be stronger up front, and Dino changing his mind and going for a ton of tier 1, probably off the back of seeing Kerpa trying to expand.
This is actually pretty huge, I would say. Also adding on a few supplementary Toads, and that, considering the reduction in Cam HP and the Toad's direct damage increased by 1, that should be massive.
Yeah, that's a good point. If those Toads can get the connections on the Chameleons and get that single target damage on those cams, that'll be huge. But the cams are just so strong against these tier 1 comps. However, Dino has a ton of tier 1. So let's see how this is going to play out. This is rough. Dino really needs to get something done too here. That's the problem. Alright, Toad's coming in. And it looked like he tried to actually run those Toads past the Chameleons to try to get to the Squirrels, and I wish he would have maybe, like you were saying, like let him hit those cams, because a lot of them actually died without detonating. And Kerpa is going to take the aggression here after winning that fight so nicely. Dino knows what's going on and taps out.
Ouch. Yeah, you're not wrong. Looks like he was actually trying to avoid the Chameleon detonations, but they didn't even blow up anyway, so yeah, he probably should just let them go. Do the damage they could have done.
Yeah, and I think that's the right move, like on the previous patch, but you know, now that the Toads deal the less AoE damage and more direct, I'm kind of with you. Like, I think the ideal Toad hit's probably like on a Chameleon with tier 1 surrounding it, you know?
Indeed.
And on
because the Squirrels are at how much HP are Squirrels at? 3 or 4?
It's Squirrel HP? It's more than that. I think it's like 8 or 9.
Okay, gotcha. So the 2 damage AoE is almost nothing.
Yeah, in the bottom we've got Dino and his opponent to the right's Kerpa. Yeah, I'm not one of those nerds that's like super on top of how much HP and damage everything does. Some of the guys in the scene are crazy about that stuff, man. It's really cool. I want to say Squirrels have 9 HP. I could be wrong. I think it's 9. Now I want to look. Now I'm curious.
Guess I don't know where I got my 3 and 4 from, but that's really low.
Yeah, it's not that low. Let me see.
Dino going for 2 moles, but Kerpa spotting it immediately. He's going to put down some mines in front of his base. I don't know if Dino can do anything here, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, the mole attack coming in from Dino. Squirrels have 8 HP. Okay. And bam, 1 farm going down, a couple squirrels as well. Dino's like, alright. Actually, no, Dino, who mole rushed last game? It was Kerpa, right? Yes. Yeah, it was. Because they were both on the same sides of the map. So Dino giving Kerpa a little bit of the taste of his own medicine there.
You know, it's funny. If not for that cabin there, I wonder if Kerpa might have gone in for an attack. But it's sort of in the way of the fastest way to get to his base, so he had to pull back.
Yeah, that cabin's kind of interesting, the way it's positioned. It's like you can kind of keep it up and buffer a little bit of an attack from your opponent, but man, if I'm Dino, I probably want to, or really either player, because it's kind of smack dab in the middle. Like, if we're playing one base games, that cabin can make such a big difference for your economy, and maybe that's not what Kerpa wants to do, though. No, just doing little mind games here, trying to convince Dino he's ecoing up, where really he's building more tier 1. But Dino does get that follow-up scout, knows it was a bait and switch. We come in, yeah, grabbing that campfire. I mean, it's a 12% increase, you know, 8 to 9 farms. That's huge. I'm not going to stop for now. Moving in. Let's see if that Toad can get a good hit. Ooh.
You know, it probably made a slight difference, but about half of Dino's squirrels were at a bit less HP when he went into that fight. And as we've said in the past, those few points of HP make a huge difference.
Oh yeah, not having everybody. You know what I always get really triggered on is people aren't utilizing like the water healing as much as you think they would. You know, like I've seen armies like outside of enemy bases with water nearby. I'm like, just stand in the water, get healed back up, man.
I didn't realize that had been put into multiplayer. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. I tried to convince Andy that toads should move at full speed in water because they're amphibious, but he didn't go for it.
That is an interesting thought, though. Some units move quickly through water. Yeah,
that could be super broken though. Like toads just catching up on everything real fast, but
could be.
So Kerpa, off the back of defending that first attack, he did sneak out the skunks. I think he's in a much better spot this game. He's got that gristmill going. He's kind of secured this high ground outside of his base. But this is a lot of tier 1 from Dino. He looks like he just wants to go for the one base all in. Kerpa getting a really good scout here. You can see his commander actually checking out those gristmills more so than the main base. Because really that's all he needs to know, right? Like if he sees Dino still hasn't taken an expansion, he knows what's coming here. He knows it's a one base play.
I just noticed that when Dino took the cabin, he did not take the campfire. So
yeah, I'm a little disappointed by that. I think it's probably that it's too contestable. It'd be pretty easy for Kerpa to just come in and snipe that if Dino moved out of position to say like place some more ends or something. Because with Dino's strategy here, I feel like you'd really love that campfire, that little extra boost. Good job by Dino here being careful about these mines, but he doesn't want to let this skunk die when it gets the daze. Let's see. Oh, that actually didn't trigger it?
That was weird.
Is this a bug?
Quick clip that.
Massive stealth. Dude, get massive stealth on the phone here. Where's the Illuminatus? Those mines should be going off. There it goes. Oh, maybe maybe the change. I gotta look at the notes, but maybe it's like a smaller detonation radius now.
You must have to be right on the tile, yeah.
He's like right next to it and not going off. And good job, really good play from Dino here, taking his time, sweeping out these mines. I don't think he's aware of that last one though, and it's gonna get a nice connection. Big fight coming down. These Falcons in the back doing so much work for Kerpa.
Oh wow, but those skunks really holding in there because of the heals. But again, skunks can't shoot the air, so in the end they lose. Yeah, but still, not too bad of engagement considering. I think Kerpa might have came out of that more on top if he still had the high ground, but still coming in. Those Falcons.
Yeah, having those Falcons still alive is huge. One gets picked up on the retreat, but I think the big story here is kind of similar to what we saw with Lego Man and Jacoby, where that wasn't like a train wreck for Dino or anything, but he's just so far behind on eco now. Like, no second base up and running, and that extra income that Kerpa's been enjoying for the past few minutes is probably going to snowball him into a victory here.
Yeah, these one base plays have not worked out for these players so far.
Yeah, it's really risky to go one base, because you put yourself... if you're playing against an opponent who's not being crazy greedy, right? Like, one base is really good against an opponent who's like, I'm going to get everything at once. I'm going to get a second base, I'm going to get a bunch of tier 2, I'm going to try to rush out that Fox or something. And nice little 2-0 victory here from Kerpa. But, when your opponent is doing this style that we saw Jacoby and Kerpa do, where you take that second base, and you're safe about it. You build a lot of tier 1, you don't over farm it. If your opponent is trying to go for one base and just barely can't get in there, you're just miles ahead, because that 5-minute mark hits, and you're just basically double the opponent's economy at that point.
What's something to keep in mind is that the one base plays typically have moles, right? That's what we're seeing a lot. Players doing 2 or 3 warns for going in, but I think they're missing the fact that the moles are now 12 HP down from 14. So I think the effectiveness of the one base mole rush is lessened, and I think they gotta keep that in mind.
Yeah. Absolutely. So we're gonna actually not waste any time here. Man, I love the fast turn. As much as I like hanging out with you, AV Ultima, and the viewers, fast tournaments are so good in my opinion because you don't want to fatigue players, and you also don't want to discourage people from joining because they don't want to commit their entire afternoon to it or something, you know. We're already at the semis and we're only 45 minutes in, so we're killing it. Absolutely killing it. Alright, so this is a best of 5 series. And we've got Jacoby versus Kerpa, which is kind of cool to see since we've already kind of been watching these players knock out their opponents in round number 1 and 2. And let's see, Kerpa lost one match to Pigston, and so far Jacoby hasn't dropped a map at all. So, Jacoby's actually my my favorite to win this. In the bottom, we've got Kerpa. And his opponent to the left, we've got Jacoby. So what do you think of these compositions here, Mr. Ultima?
I like the ferrets and the lizards. Hopefully we see something aggressive from Kerpa early on with both those units, honestly. Okay. Surprisingly, the first time we're seeing ferrets at all. We've sort of seen the Falcons dominate the game so far, and that might still be the case if Kerpa can't get something started with the ferrets.
I don't know why I thought this was best of 5. It is best of 3. I apologize, everybody.
Yeah,
see,
I
just wanted
only best of 5.
Yeah, I just wanted more tooth and tail, man. I got busted. I got busted by the gentleman. Hang on.
Also, this is probably the greatest time for Kerpa to try for lizards because Jacoby doesn't have toads.
That's true. The moles do help out against the lizards, but the toads are that big hard counter, and I like the ferrets, as you were mentioning earlier. They're one of my personal favorite units, and Kerpa utilizes them a lot as well. And the boar is also really strong at the moment, so Kerpa playing a little bit off meta, I feel like, with the lizards and ferrets, but still strong units, still can work, and he's trying to get aggressive here with this lizard opening.
Yeah, you can probably attack from the high ground and just use the lizards to attack anything that gets too close. Yeah, pick it off, pick it off.
We gotta be careful. Gotta find that right angle. The moles are here too. He gets the Warren, which is great. And yeah, if I'm Kerpa, I'm probably happy with that. Gonna back out. So nice little attack there, but it might be better for Jacoby because Kerpa did delay his economy quite a bit. And unfortunately for Kerpa, this isn't the best map in the world for lizard shenanigans, you know? Typically with lizards, you want your opponent to be open, you want to be able to come in from a whole bunch of different angles and surprise them. I guess there is that little bit of a backdoor, but that would be hard to get to. You see that over at like the 11 o'clock?
You know, if you mentioned the water healing, this would be the map and the opportunity to do it with that water right there. Oh, and a good mine hit.
Yeah, but so many lizards here just getting wrecked by these moles. And this is bad news bears for Kerpa.
Wow, that's unfortunate. That mine essentially hit all of his army coming in, but it didn't make much of a difference, unfortunately.
All right, we got match number 2 here. Sorry, messaging the players a little bit.
It seems that Kerpa lost too many units when trying to kill that Warren off. I think he might have lost 3 lizards and a squirrel, I guess, which you'd think would be kind of worth it, but I guess it wasn't, considering the moles were coming out. Really, when trying to go up against that early mole timing, you need as many units as you can get.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, the lizards are really a bit of a wild card pick in the current meta. They can still work, and you can still do lizard shenanigans and do that classic, like, base race, you know, swap into 30 lizards kind of thing. But the problem is, like, moles are really meta at the moment, and moles just annihilate lizards, as we saw in that last game. But here in the bottom, we've got Kerpa, and over to the left, his opponent, Jacoby, one match away from going to the grand finals of this tournament, undefeated. My prediction is looking good so far. Ooh, Kerpa. Man, we've seen a lot of this this mole rushing today, more than I normally see. Oh, and he's even gonna do a 5-farm double here. And this actually might work because if you look at Jacoby's vision, he's already scouted that top area. You know what I mean? Like, imagine he hadn't scouted that gristmill yet. He might be more inclined to come up here. Oh my god! Oh, you gotta be kidding me! If you were just watching Jacoby's vision there, like, he was literally right on the edge of seeing these moles come in. But
oh no,
Kerpa didn't wait long enough, and the moles are going down without getting it done. Oh man, this is a disaster for Kerpa. Oh, this could have been so good if he just would have waited for like one more mole. But he did deny the warrant. Okay, no, he's just going to go home. That's super unfortunate. That could have been like game-ending damage. Darn. And that vision from Jacoby, I was watching his vision as he kind of went up on the high ground, and he was literally like one tile away from scouting it. It was insane.
You know, it wasn't too bad of Kerpa to go in as soon as he could, because as the pig is building, it's considered a structure, and he nearly got it as it was building.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. That way he gets the extra critical damage on that structure. Yeah, that must have been what he was thinking. Alright, no harm, no foul, basically, you know. Keep in mind, Kerpa did kill that Warren, so that was 60 food worth of damage. I think he only lost like one mole, and then he lost some HP from like selling, you know, while things were damaged. So I don't mind. You know, it's not.
I like Jacoby's patience here. Instead of, you know, saying I need to go all in now that my opponent's failed the mole rush, I'm just gonna sit back, get some farms up, get my tier 2 without much of an issue.
Yeah. And this opening from Jacoby, if you're interested in getting back into playing, or maybe this is the first time you're watching Tooth and Tail, well, it had my stamp of approval for a minute. It's still really good, but the way that it kind of opened with like 8 farms into 2 tier 1, into like you grab your second base, you know, you throw down like a farm or 2 into a tier 2. That's a really solid, strong opening. I would recommend for the latter, though, instead of those additional 2 farms he put there, like throwing down a couple more tier 1 to be more safe. But the decision to continue to farm up there was actually based on information. You know, Jacoby came in, he scouted, he saw, hey, my opponent's going eco as well, so I'm safe to continue to build more farms.
And probably even safer considering the failed mole rush as well.
Yeah. Yeah, having that little
just
bit of
a lot of good
advantage.
information.
Mm-hmm. Jacoby kind of come in and see the additional tier 2, a great scout. And how is Kerpa doing on information? Pretty good as well. He actually sees that Jacoby is being very greedy. Like, Jacoby's already gone up to 2 base full saturation, 3 tier 2 warrants. And so far, Jacoby's just playing the greed game really well, you know?
Yeah, as long as there's no immediate fear of getting attacked, these players have no fear of going for farm, farm, farm.
Yeah, it's kind of another style of play altogether when you get in a spot like that. Like, if we're both kind of ecoing up, if I see you've got 5 farms, you know, I want to get 6 or 7. I don't want to get too crazy unless you run over me with like a tech switch into aggro, but I just want to stay slightly greedier than you. And we got a macro game.
Yeah, is turret play not that big at the moment?
No, unfortunately for me, because turrets are one of my favorite units. But yeah, I think the reasoning behind turrets not being so good at the moment are the moles structure critting. I think chameleons do pretty good against them. Snakes can poke them down fairly well. Of course, ferrets do well against them. I think you can still do that contained style strategy, you know, like the old school days where you know, let's say Jacoby took this high ground middle base early on, throw some turrets right at the edge, and poke them down with ferrets and stuff like that. But you don't see it super common. I think it's still viable, like on the ladder and such. But high level players, actually in the meta, really the only defensive unit we see pretty often at higher level is mines. Every now and then we'll see guys like Kalaru or Big Pimpintosh using things like artillery and actually taking off some cool wins. We saw the other night on the feast, Tosh sent in a replay where he beat this guy with an artillery build, and this guy's like one of the top players right now, so
yeah,
can work. Okay, this is crazy. And Kerpa's actually please tell me Kerpa did scout the Badger Warren so I can make this point. Yes, he did. Like, this is such a good response to the Badger, in my opinion. So many Falcons, because you can just delete that Badger with all that burst damage, but it's going to be hard because Jacoby's got so many Falcons of his own to kind of buffer away Kerpa's Falcons, so I still think I like Jacoby's comp better here. It's a shame Kerpa could never find that spot to get out that tier 3, because it's here now for Jacoby. You know, he's getting a 4 base economy, he's got a Badger, you know, the world's his oyster. He can move out whenever he wants.
And no doubt, even adding on more, the pigeons are going to make a huge difference in that ensuing fight as well. Even with all the Falcons doing that DPS, I think the pigeons are really going to keep things up for a long time. Sustain is so long.
Okay, so Jacoby's not moving out immediately with the Badger. This is always a rough spot for Kerpa, because you want to get into your own tier 3 to even the playing field, but you also don't want to be caught, you know, 360 food in the hole when your opponent moves out, you know, and you don't quite have your tier 3 yet. But Kerpa also can't sit around forever. You know, Jacoby's got access to 4 bases here, and Kerpa's only got 3, so he doesn't want to take this super, super late. He's got to make a play at some point.
Yeah, that could be the reason why Jacoby's not going in, because he knows as long as I just wait, Kerpa will inevitably lose, because I have the farm advantage.
Yeah, that's Jacoby couldn't be happier than to just sit back and build more Falcons. Hell, he might get crazy and even build another Badger. 20 farm economy here, man.
I mean, Kerpa's a good player, and he's probably seeing that inevitability himself, like, okay, Jacoby's just going to stay defensive. I'm going to have to make the move. What's my move?
I wouldn't mind seeing him try to do some cheeky mole play here, you know?
Right.
Like maybe build 3 or 4 mole warrens in the north corner, send those in on that 4th base, and then, like, right as Jacoby moves his units over to defend that, then push in on the 3rd. You know, I think you got to come up with something crazy like that to win in this position, because this is rough, you know? Jacoby's got the same amount of Falcons and a Badger.
You know, I want to say this might have been the map to have lizards, but who knows if he would have made it out of early game if he did have them.
Yeah. That is true. Man, I wish Kerpa would have thrown down that boar at some point, but just deciding against it. Well, I guess it makes sense. Like, what's the boar really going to do here against all those Falcons?
Yeah, in this case, it might be best just to get a whole bunch of Falcons.
Yeah, I think
dominate that air game.
Yeah, now that I think about it, that is the correct move. I don't think the boar helps here at all, because what's Jacoby have that the boar is going to do anything against? 6 squirrels?
Does boar still explode?
It does, but the explosion isn't a big deal like it used to be back in the day. The big thing with the boar nowadays is it does insane structure damage. Like, it just melts structures so quickly.
Oh gosh, 4 Badgers coming out. Nasty.
Gentleman in the chat saying Kerpa needs a YOLO all in. Man, I agree. He's got to do something. I would love to see that mole play. I think that would be his best bet. Would be to try to move Jacoby's army out of position to deal with the moles, and then come in for the kill. He's got to just take a good engagement. He can do it, but not for long, as 4 badgers are on the way. Good lord.
Dang. Yeah, even if, Kerpa were to go in now, and let's say they come away even, Jacoby's technically got a ton of money in the bank. He just sells some Badger Warrens, and now he's got a full reinforce to attack him.
Yeah, you know what? Another thing I was just thinking about is if you're Jacoby here with that extra base worth of economy, do you continue to build a crazy amount of units, or do you kind of stockpile up some food here? That way you can replenish your army like immediately. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you really need more badgers? Or, I mean, I guess you can kind of get the best of both worlds in Tooth and Tail, because you can always get this enormous army. Jacoby's just showboating now. 6 badgers. But you know what I mean? Like, you can go for both a little in Tooth and Tail, because you can get those 6 badgers, and like you were just mentioning, after the big attack, sell off like 4 of those warrens and get so much food back. And here we go. Kerpa has realized he's got to try, so he's moving in. I don't even know how you target fire or how you micro in this. I mean, Jacoby is going to micro his badgers.
Oh.
Kerpa tries to target him down, but just gets wrecked upon. And Jacoby moves into the grand finals undefeated. Which means we've got... Let's see if the other semifinal... Nope, so the other semifinal is not quite ready yet. It's going to be... We've got a Gustavam playing against Citizen Weasel. And whoever wins... Ooh, Haru and this guy. That is, that's a hell of a match.
Are both those games going on right now, so we're unable to cast?
I believe so. I can check with Gent, but everything should be underway. Let me see.
That game was such an unfortunate circumstance. Like, I'm, thinking back on it now, ever since he lost that initial mole rush, Jacoby's a smart player, so he's just going to sit back on his advantage. And unless Kerpa made a huge move to sort of disrupt Jacoby's advantage that he had, I don't know if there was any way for him to actually get back into that game, because Jacoby played that as perfect as he could. Just stayed defensive and built up units, got eco. It's a tough position.
Okay, let's take a look on... Gustav versus Weasel might be going on a public live lobby, but I think Gustav is actually not playing on the patch because he's playing on PS4. So let me look around here. And unfortunately, Haru did not make it today. So this guy, moving on, I'm gonna fight against Citizen Weasel or Gustavams, whoever wins that. I guess actually we'll just chill here in the... I'm just gonna chill in the PTR lobby.
Won't that be awkward if Gustav makes it to Grands?
Yeah.
We'd swap back to live.
Yep. Let's
Wait,
see.
are you in a different lobby for a game?
Did you find their lobby? Is it up?
No, I'm asking you if you found a lobby.
Oh, no, I just decided to stay on the PTR because I'm lazy.
Gotcha.
Let's see. Okay, you know what? Should we kick it to a little break?
Sure.
Let you get some water, stretch your legs. We're going to kick it to a very brief break, guys, as we wait for this round to finish up and start the semifinals. Don't go anywhere. We've got the semifinals, which is going to be a best of 3 between this guy and either Gustavams or Citizen Weasel. And then we're going to have the grand final match, which is going to be Jacoby against the winner of that, and that is going to be a best of 5. So Got a little more Tooth and Tail coming your way. Give us a brief break while these players finish up matches, and we'll be back shortly. Hey everybody, we are coming back live. I hope AV is ready. Sounds like he is. We got to go back to live though because Augustavon won. So we've got the semifinal, which is going to be Augusta versus this guy, which Augusta's playing on the PS4, so we cannot do public tests on that. I leave you. Hang on, let me at least put that on so it's not a black screen. Hashtag production value here. And let me swap back over. Darn, I was gonna kill some more time by talking D&D with you, but I guess we have to get back to work now.
It's a shame.
Okay, we've got Augusta versus this guy. Let me see. Back to tournament capture. Let's go ahead and do that same password. I say sneakily as I just show everybody on the stream what the password is. There we go. Alright, so we've got Augustavons versus this guy. Get that scoreboard updated. And we're back on live, not on PTR anymore, because Augusta is a PS4 player and cannot play on the PTR. So thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. It's always a lot of fun. Thanks again to AV Ultima for doing this with me, man. It's always a blast. We got the semis, so we're gonna have the best of 3, and then we should be able to just go straight into the best of 5. So we're gonna have 2 more rounds back to back. There shouldn't be any more waiting or breaks or anything in between, and we'll wrap it up. So what's on the line here? If you're not aware, or viewers are not aware, the winner of this tournament becomes a faction leader in the 21 Generals. So last season, James won the Gentleman season of tournaments, the 21 Rooms, and this time it's the 21 Generals. And what we're doing this time around is we've got 3 factions that are going to be competing with a lot of board game elements. Oh, PS4 doesn't have passwords. Okay, we gotta reset it and just make it an open lobby. Actually, he's got one. We can just join that. Damn. Okay. So basically, yeah, so there's 3 factions, and there's a ton of rules involved with the 21 Generals. You can still sign up, by the way, if you haven't. I highly recommend you do. I mean, I think AV Ultima can agree, like, Tooth and Tail events are always really fun. Isn't it crazy, like, how many different styles of tournaments we've had in Tooth and Tail? It's really insane.
Yeah, I know, the creativity of all our players to, I mean, even the Shall Not Be Named Master Stealth game is, it's awesome, the creativity that we have in our community.
Did you find the open lobby, AV?
Is this guy in it? Wait.
Oh, join the one with Augusta in it. I think this guy might be in the wrong spot. I think we're split here.
I don't see any lobbies at the moment.
Are you on live?
Yes. Oh, I need to store the defaults. There we go.
Oh, there's this guy. Okay, yeah, we're just waiting on you. Oh, hurry up! No, wait, don't start. Don't start.
I'm in.
Okay, oh, you're in. I'm sorry. my microphone blocks it. But yeah, so just in summary, guys, if you're not aware of the event going on, hang on a second. We'll get into this game. In the left, we're in the semifinals here. We've got Augustavon spawning in, and his opponent up top, we've got this guy. A little bit of red plug, but that's standard with PS4 games. It should clear up. It's actually lasting longer than normal. Now I'm a bit worried. Okay. Oh. Okay. Okay, we're good.
Worry not.
So yeah, so again, this is another crazy tournament. The gentleman and I the other night made a video explaining the rules. You can find the rules actually on the stream you're watching now under Tooth and Tail events section. You can find all that information in the gentleman's Discord. But yeah, essentially there's 3 factions, and they're going to be doing a lot of like board game shenanigans, like taking over territories and that kind of thing. And what we're doing right now is we're trying to determine who the faction leaders are. So we already know James is one faction leader. The winner of this tournament today is going to be another faction leader, and then the winner of tomorrow's tournament will be the third one. And if you're on the fence about like committing a lot of time, but you still want to be part of the event, definitely sign up as a mercenary, because mercenaries can kind of come in and out as you want. It's a little bit less of a commitment. But anyways, let's get back into this game. This guy rocking his patented this guy style with that skunk-centered play. Meanwhile, Augusta here, he's got the counter, in my opinion, to what this guy's bringing to the table. And this guy is very typecasted. Like, everybody knows that this guy likes his squirrel, pigeon, mole, skunk setup. But the problem is he's so damn good at it that it doesn't matter that it's coming. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, fine.
Refined.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. He's one of those players. We've seen them in the past, because it's interesting when you get into like best of 5s and 7s in Tooth and Tail. You feel inclined to like change it up, right? Maybe you can sneak out a fox or something like that, and your opponent won't expect it. But I think you could recall players like this as well, where they're just like, hey man, I've got this one deck, I've got this one strategy, I'm so good at it, I don't care if you know what I'm doing, I'm still gonna win.
No, I know exactly what you mean. Like, yeah, I know that you know my weakness, but I know that you know.
Yeah, exactly. And you know that I know that you know. But Augusta's a bit of the underdog here, but what's kind of cool is that in my opinion, he's got a nice setup to go against what this guy's bringing to the table. The Chameleon Toad style should work against this. So let's see if I think it's really going to come down to positioning, engagements, target fire. Can those chameleons get in there and knock out those skunks before too much gas comes down on the squirrels? This is going to be good. I'm really excited for this match.
Is the idea that the chameleons will tank down the skunks before they can put down enough gas?
Yeah, I think that's what you're trying to do. I think you want the chameleons to get in and murder those skunks. Because chameleons hit really hard, too. You can see that chameleon got him down to like half HP. But this guy is probably the best in the business when it comes to skunk control. I mean, I've watched so many. He submits replays a lot to me for the feast. And, of course, he's in basically like every tournament. So, I mean, it's insane. His skunk control is next level.
And he wasn't afraid there to move out when he felt the fight wasn't going in his direction. Yeah. A lot of times you see players opting just to stick it out, but it just makes it worse.
All right, Augusta moving these cams forward a little bit. I think he was trying to catch these skunks as they come in, for that gas harassment, But, again, this guy is playing a very strong game. Here's that gas harassment coming down, and, this is making Augusta bombs, like, really timid about actually throwing down those extra farms here. Meanwhile, this guy's got 2 cooking, so this is that small eco advantage we've seen win, games after games today. Just, you can't quite break them in, and those extra couple farms really make a big difference. So here we go, Augusta's moving in, going for it. The chameleon's on top of the skunks, but that nice control from this guy brings him back, keeps him alive. So much skunk gas here. One chameleon goes down, and that skunk gas just cleans everything up.
I'm really curious to know why we've seen so many times in this tournament a lot of players feeling that they need to stick to this one base and just try to end it instead of trying to eco up. And again, we just didn't see the fight pan out in the way the one basing player thought it would.
Well, to be fair, I think this map was a bit favored for this guy. He had that high ground that he could harass in with the skunks down, and Augusta did try to take some farms a couple times, but he really just couldn't find a comfortable position to do it, because every time he'd throw down a farm, the skunks would come down and start gassing the place. And you're right. Like, we keep seeing that today, and it's just not working. But in that game, I don't think Augusta had a lot of choice. Because that natural position for him was kind of awkward.
Yeah, it's unfortunate we keep seeing that where the players feel that, man, I'm in this position, I just have to commit to this specific strategy, and it's just not panning out. Hopefully we see something a bit closer this next game.
I'm excited either way. Like, we're gonna have such a good grand finals here. If Augusta can pull the upset against this guy, that'd be insane, but most likely what we're looking at is this guy versus Jacoby in a best of 5, which is definitely gonna be a match for your notepads. Again, we got a bit of that PS4 lag at the beginning, nothing to be alarmed about. Over on the left side, we've got this guy spawning in and his opponent to the right, Augusta. And this is what I was talking about, AV. You know, this guy, same exact deck, you know? I highly doubt he's going to change anything for the rest of this tournament.
It's not broke, don't fix it.
That's right. So let's look at this map again. It's kind of awkward for... Man, it's really awkward for Gustav Alms. This is a big yikes for him. Jeez, like even the the icing on the cake for... Oh, why is this so funny to me? But oh man, it's almost like an insult because Augusta could think to himself, well, at least I have this 3 o'clock, right? But look at the ramps to get to that. You know what I mean? Like, it's insane. He's got to walk all the way around. Oh, man. And he can't really take that 7 o'clock base because that's going to put him in that same position he was last game where this guy has got the high ground right outside your natural and he's just going to poke in. Like, I think if you're a Gustav Alms, well, maybe that 3 o'clock's not as bad as I'm thinking, right? Because it is going to be really awkward for this guy to get over there, too. But once Augusta's got it established, he can just warp over there with the burrow and then kind of keep his army on this central high ground area and defend both bases at once. So that actually, that might work out as an expo. We'll see.
Yeah, as long as Gustavon doesn't do anything that would cause him to lose any type of tempo, then I don't think he's too bad in taking that 3 o'clock, as you said, and then beginning to maneuver around the north, and then just keep a defensive line in front of his main. But as soon as this guy spots an advantage, I'm surely he's going to take it.
And it's still going to be hard because this guy's natural's got that double high ground. So if you're Augusta and you're like, hey, I want to try to, you know, plant my flag here on this high ground outside my main, defend both my main and that 3 o'clock, it's still going to be hard because that's right where this guy's base is. You know, again, he's got awkward ramps here on the double high ground for himself. So this is rough, but we'll see. Augusta's the one opening up with Skunks this time. Meanwhile, this guy is going into a lot of Tier 1 into an expansion. I really like this guy's opening here as well. Like if you're a newer player trying to learn something to ladder with, I think this is really good. It's a nice safe opening. You know, a lot of times we'll see players be real greedy with, I'm going to get an expansion, I'm going to get Tier 2, I'm going to get everything at once. And that can work if you know what you're doing with scouting info, but something like what this guy's doing is super duper safe, you know. Build a bunch of Tier 1, throw down an extra farm or two, and go into the mid-game. But here we go, Gustavom with some Skunks.
That's exactly what he needs to do, is to be aggressive and to try to do some damage early on, because if we do end up going to a game that goes late, I mean, we see this guy has a Tier 3, and we've seen how big those Badgers are at this point, and it's do you agree that he should have backed up there? I feel like he had a bit of an advantage to, in the very least, start picking off the mill or additional squirrels there.
It's hard.
Especially with the Tier 2? It's
hard to say. I actually like that decision from Augusta because he got some damage. You look at the army graph, that was nice for him, and he didn't overstay. He didn't overstay his welcome. You know, like his Skunks were getting low. He didn't have the pigeons yet. So I agree with you. Maybe he could have gotten more out of it. But now he's at advantage against this guy. Oh, yeah, and the moles.
Yeah, that's so smart. This guy's so smart, knowing that there's no way that Augusta was surely going to take this base. Wow.
But this leaves this guy out of position for a split second. Actually, no, he's going to be able to warp home just in time. Man, that was such a sick play by this guy. But the Skunks here, I mean, this is Skunk versus Mass Squirrel. They've got pigeons to heal him. The Skunk guy's doing a great job. But this guy had the classic concave versus convex situation that really helped him out there. But again, you know, I still don't hate this for Augusta, but Actually, it's coming back to what you were talking about last game, AV, where it's that one base versus two, right? Like, Augusta's stuck. He's got it.
For a moment, he did have a tech advantage. I think he had both skunk and falcons, but he opted to sell the falcons for more squirrels, which we've seen that's not the best strat, or it doesn't end up working out, especially in a situation where now you're, as we've said, going that one base play.
You know, and it's a shame because it feels like he doesn't want to do this. Like, we've seen that not work today over and over. Like, he's tried to take a second base in both games multiple times, and this guy just shuts it down. And here we go. He's forced to come in and attack. One skunk goes down. So much tier 1 here from this guy, just defending with pure tier 1. Really showing you how it's done as he rampages over. You know, I feel like Augusta played well. And I don't normally say this, but I do feel like the maps screwed him there a little bit. But not a whole lot. I feel like this guy still, you know, deserves a win. I'm not saying anything like that, but I think Augusta did a really good job. And we've got our grand finals coming up, which I think means we have to hop back to that PTR.
Okay.
So I'll put on that break screen for a second. But you know what I mean? Like, those maps weren't great for Augusta. But I think he still played well, considering.
Oh, yeah, and there was definitely several opportunities where he could have definitely turned the tide in his favor. It's not often that we have a PS4 player in one of our tournaments, right?
No, yeah. Geez, I'm kind of blanking on. There are a couple other PS4 players that are pretty active, but off the top of my head, it's hard for me to say who's who. What we need is a Switch, a Switch port, man. I'm down for Switch port. I think that's the meme at this point, though. Everybody wants a Switch port. All right, I think I'm good. You should be able to find my lobby again with the password. Make sure the players know what's going on. All right, so we're going into our grand finals. This is going to be such a good matchup. Jacoby versus this guy. Jacoby is no slouch either. He's a recent tournament winner. He won a tournament Tosh organized. I think he actually beat this guy in it, if I recall correctly. Oh, whoops, am I still on break screen? Well, sorry guys. Alright, I switched it back just in time. We're in the grand finals already. In the bottom left, we've got Jacoby and his opponent up top, this guy. And this is awesome. You remember what I was just saying, AV, about this guy not changing his deck? Here we go. The mind games, man.
Yeah, I was thinking before, okay, he's going up against Jacoby, who has yet to drop a game in this tournament. Is he going to change it up? And he is.
And you know what's crazy? Look at Jacoby's deck. That's this guy's patented deck.
Love the out-of-game mind games.
So again, you know, alright, maybe I'm giving this guy too much credit, but what if this guy knows that Jacoby also uses his deck, right? And then that's why he went for the chameleons, because the chameleons and the snakes are supposed to be pretty decent at holding off that skunk push. So, I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it, but
I wouldn't put it past him.
The deck, I guess what I'm getting at is the deck that this guy has, to me, seems like it counters the deck he typically plays, which it just happens to be what Jacoby brought to the table here. And that's a 7-farm tier 2. That is super greedy. Jacoby could punish that if he wanted. I think he can get units over there in time. But it would be close. No, he's just going to save. Alright, I'll get my own tier 2 up. Oh, and here we go. Let's see Let's see how impressive this guy can be with these chameleons. The chameleon micro, I mean, it's always been there. You know, you're no stranger to seeing players, you know, snipe farms and stuff with these cams and backdoor and things like that. Still very relevant today. The old versus new tournament. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, Tosh. Didn't Jacoby win that? He's in the chat. Let me know. We are on a little bit of a delay here.
It's unfortunate I couldn't compete in that.
Oh, yeah, you would have been great for it.
Would have been fun.
Or at least cast, man. I gotta drag you back out here to do more casting. I'm glad you're here today. All right. Oh, this guy's going for it. And notice he's got his chameleon rallied over. Now, unfortunately for him, he's still got one chameleon sitting at home.
Is he rallying the chameleons? They haven't moved. Okay, now they're moving.
Look at that. He's distracting him on the front while this chameleon wrecks havoc on the back. And he gets the re-stealth. This guy signed my mouse pad, dude. Jeez.
Oh, wow. I didn't even notice that. Okay.
He got a farm and I think a Warren, too. No, I think he just got the farm, but still, man. Well, alright, before I go praising this guy too much, keep in mind Jacoby did win that front engagement, right? So.
But I think as we've seen, especially in these high-level matchups, any type of, I guess, eco advancement is huge. Especially if this guy starts adding on even just one farm.
Yeah, I know he won the old versus new tournament, but my question was, did he play this guy in it? I think he did. Jacoby won and beat this guy to do it. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, yeah, the grand finals of that was Jacoby versus this guy. That's what I thought. And Jacoby did win that. Okay.
All right, we've yet to see this. I expect Jacoby to be moving forward at some point. We have yet to see this actually work, but we'll see what happens now.
Yeah, and again, look at the tank mill.
Yeah.
Look at this map, too, for Jacoby. We haven't really touched on that this game, but it's rough. Like, again, he's in that situation like Agusa was last set, rather, where it's like, well, can you even really take a second base? But here we go.
Ouch.
Big engagement coming in. The moles should do well against those lizards. And Jacoby's crushing forward so far. The Falcons go... Well, one Falcon still remains, but both Skunks still large and in charge. And without chameleons here, this tier 1 army of this guys gets slammed. Jacoby up 1 point.
Yeah, the Skunk's doing tremendous work there, along with the moles in the front lines. Just a truly tanky setup there. And man, now that you've really pointed that out, that the lizards don't do well versus moles, I've seen it so far in these fights that really the lizards do get pretty destroyed by the moles.
Yeah, and chameleons too. So lizards right now, it's weird. Like, it's hard to go as far as to say they're bad, you know, because lizards just have so much potential in just being swift, you know, with the backdoor capabilities, with the base race capabilities. And here we go. Spawning into match number 2, we've got this guy over to the left, and we've got Jacoby over to the right. And this time, you know, the first game, I think this guy was trying to pull a fast one with a little bit of a crazy deck. This time around, he's got his patented tried and true composition, which Jacoby is also using. So, complete mirror matchup here. And what do you think of this map? It's hard for me to say. Like, Jacoby's got a second base, so we can't complain about that. Huh. I don't know, man. I guess it could split to be kind of even if maybe Jacoby controls the bottom.
I would say in a less aggressive game, this guy has a bit of an advantage because of the 2 lower bases that he has. It's hard for Jacoby to get over there. Yeah. But if they do end up splitting the battle lines that way, then Jacoby has the 2 to the north there, to his direct left. So
I think at the end of the day, however this map gets sliced, I think both players should have access to a third base. Fourth base is where things are going to get wonky, but we very, very rarely see it go that far. So I think you're okay with this map if you're either player because, hey, I can get a second base for sure, and I'm probably going to be okay with a third base as well. So yeah, but I agree. I think it is this guy favored, but not by a crazy amount or anything.
Yeah, there's none of that early game sadness where you're thinking, great, what am I going to do when we have to start expanding? There's a clear line here where a player can comfortably make it to the mid game without having to worry about those expansions.
Okay, we see Jacoby opening up with that quick expo. Meanwhile, this guy looks like he's putting together the pieces for his typical skunk attack. Let's see how much he commits to it. He could still throw down a Gristmill right now, but if he throws down more tier 1, I think he's bringing that patented push. And yeah, that looks like to be the build order here from this guy. Jacoby needs to be careful. He should have scouted. He knows what's up. I think right when he sees the additional tier 1 and no second base, I'm really curious to see how Jacoby pivots here. Does he think he has enough time to get both those tier 2 out? Does he sell one and build some tier 1? Because he's got to know it's coming now. Okay, he's going to commit to both tier 2, and here's the push.
I think from what we've seen from the last game, the skunk gas on the Warrens is quite devastating. And we're sort of seeing that again. Amazing micro from this guy, keeping his skunks alive, using the pigeons to heal them. But luckily, Jacoby defending it off, but losing all his squirrels in the process.
Yeah, Jacoby actually had some really good micro there as well. He target fired down the squirrels. That way his falcon stayed safe. Oh, and Jacoby might get stuck in that spot you were talking about earlier where he's got that tier 2, like, permanently supply blocked because he's constantly reinforcing, you know. Okay, finally starts. Ooh, one skunk almost going down, but makes it out. And really nice defense here from Jacoby. But this guy's not overcommitting. Does have a second base. He's got a couple farms on the way. So, yeah, nice little shoulder check kind of build from this guy, you know. Hey, are you going crazy on your second base? Or are you trying to build a tier 3? Something like that. I'm just going to win right now. But we're going to continue on. Actually, Jacoby looks like he wants to end this game.
Yeah, putting down moles now. You know, it's really, I guess going back to the topic of the map, is that we typically see there's always that, you know, one mill that's like on 2-tier high ground in the middle of the map. And as soon as a player makes an aggressive move, the one that wins then takes that advantage. And almost the entire game is based around that aggressive mill. But we don't see that here. It's more like setting up their own makeshift bases in the middle of the map like Jacoby is right now.
Yeah, I feel like that's a really bold Warren placement. You know, this is very aggressive. This is very all-in-y to me. Because if this attack doesn't work, he's got Warrens in the middle of nowhere. And here we go, Jacoby moving in. One skunk goes down from this guy. The other skunk is still living. But Jacoby with so many forces, what a good angle, too. The concave there was phenomenal for Jacoby. Really getting a full surround on his opponent's army. And this might be it. Let's see if this guy can hold off with reinforcements, but I feel like that's too much damage, and we're going to go into game point Jacoby here shortly. All right. This is it. This guy absolutely has to win this map. Jacoby still hasn't dropped a single map this entire tournament.
Seems like you're right about Jacoby understanding the matchup, this mirror matchup well. So far, 2 games in a row, he's hit that mole timing, whatever it is. I assume in this last game, it was the farms that really set this guy behind. He did have 3 farms up on him, but didn't end up paying out.
All right, in the bottom left, really needing to win here. We've got this guy. And over to the right, if he takes this map, he's going to win the tournament without losing a single match. We've got Jacoby. And again, we got the mirror matchup. We got a crazy map here, which is always fun. This one actually looks Jacoby favored to me at first glance, but not horrible for this guy either. You know, I feel like maybe if this guy really puts his foot down on this 5 o'clock base, he can mess with Jacoby pretty hard, right? Because that natural would be really awkward. I think this guy's got a lot of choices on his expos. He can take that pocket base over to the west and just be super safe. He can take that, lower ground base, which I don't think we'll see, but he might do it just to be, kind of mid-range safe, or he could take that right base and really be trying to claim some territory and getting into Jacoby's face here. So on the other side, Jacoby does have that cabin option if he wants to go for one base to reinforce with that. And yeah, let's see how this plays out. I think the map is fine. What do you think of this? This lake map we got here, this marsh, all these bones?
Yeah, we're sort of back to what I was saying before, is that these middle mills, whoever ends up making that first move to, I guess it would be Jacoby in this case, to take one of those middle ones, be aggressive, and then if he keeps it, then he's almost got these 3 mills next to it on lock. And that makes this guy a bit awkward, him having to eco backwards. But as we've seen, if you don't have access to those late game mills, you're sort of just waiting to die at that point. So hopefully this guy sees an opportunity to make an aggressive action and take some forward mills for his own.
Yeah, and Jacoby is going to be the aggressor in that regard here, and we can see that this guy decides to go with that more passive, gonna get that pocket base, and that is dangerous, like you were just pointing out. Now it's going to be really hard for Jacoby to ever really take this 4 o'clock. I'm sorry, this guy to ever take it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because now Jacoby's just got so much control. Like, really, any of those 4 bases and that little square situation there, I mean, any of those are going to be hard for this guy now. Okay, pretty mirror starts, though. Both players going right up to that Skunk Falcon combo. And let's see how the scouting is doing so far. This guy knows exactly what Jacoby's doing, and Jacoby needs a good scout here, so let's see if he gets it. He's going to go straight for that second base, confirm this guy did take a natural, and that's all he wants to see. He's going to go home after that.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll see a similar move again where Jacoby's going to continually scout that expansion, and if he sees that maybe this guy has put on 1 too many farms, he's going to try for that mole push again.
Yeah.
But it seems like both players are instead going for the units this time around. Slower economy this time. And there he goes again, looking for how many firms has this guy placed? 1 still? All right, I'm good to maybe eco out myself.
Yeah, and this is rough for this guy here because he's got to be on his best behavior. He has to win this match. Jacoby could do whatever he wants. He could have gone, crazy lizard counter backstab this game just for fun. He's got 2 games he can lose and still be fine. That the pressure, like the mental state that puts you in as a player is something that really needs to be considered. I mean, just think of how different these guys are feeling right now. Jacoby's like, whatever, man, I could lose 2 and I'm good. This guy's like, I have to win this game or it's over. Here's the Badger. This guy's being really safe. He's going to get the scout. Nice. Beautiful. Yeah, this guy knows exactly what's happening right now. He's been very on top of the scouting. He's
keeping a mirror. He put down his own Badger.
Yeah. I like that a lot, actually, because he scouted it so quickly. Jacoby's only going to have a Badger for, 5 or 10 seconds before this guy gets his own, which is not a big enough window to do anything with. Really good counter scout there, actually. I want to highlight that for a second because that could have been a good opportunity for Jacoby to tech switch into a bunch of tier 1 and then attack this guy when he's got a tier 3 cooking, And this guy's, Jacoby's scouting this game. He's not keeping up as well as this guy is. Jacoby still doesn't know about this guy's tier 3. He hasn't really got a nice behind the main base scout in quite some time. But I think he has been keeping up pretty well on this second base farm count, which is probably the most important thing.
When this tier 3 comes out, it'd probably be smart for this guy to take the initiative, not to attack, but to in the very least gain some ground here, as we've been talking about. If he doesn't have a late game plan to take a future mill as well as future mills after that, and then he's essentially already lost. So hopefully he sees that in the coming moments.
All right, let's see if Jacoby is triggered to move out here with the tier 3. Doesn't look like it. And like I said, that window, not big anyways. Even if Jacoby moved out immediately, this guy's Badger would have been joining the fight very, very soon after it began. And yeah, I'm curious what's going to happen now. Are we going to try to go into more bases, or is one of these players going to put the pedal to the metal and move out? And
there we go.
Here we go. Like you were saying, this guy moving up.
I don't expect him to attack here, but you never know. Wow.
He's going to go for it. Let's see who's got the better Badger control. The big thing with the Badger control is keeping it safe, but also keeping it wound up so it deals all that extra damage. If you stop firing with that Badger for just a couple seconds, you're not going to be wound up anymore, and you're going to do much, much less DPS. Ooh, almost gets that pig. Nice try.
And in this type of mirror matchup, everything matters. So if you would have gotten that pig there, that actually would have been potentially huge.
Yeah, oh yeah. Especially the pigs. Okay, and speaking of pigs, keep in mind, Jacoby doesn't have that 8th one.
This is really smart. Jacoby taking the high ground from this guy after he moved out. Now it's going to be a bit tough for him to take any additional mills from this point forward if he decides to keep that high ground.
He can take that 11 o'clock, but the awkward thing about that is, yeah, you can warp over there once you have it, but this guy walking all the way over there to get that would leave him so open to an attack from Jacoby. And now Jacoby's going to put the pressure on. And I'm really curious what this guy's going to do when he sees that third base. He sees it now. I mean, it could just be a tanking mill. He's just going to go for it. He's going to try to reclaim this high ground. Ooh, that Badger getting so low. This guy's Badger drops down. Jacoby's Badger is still up. And it does go down, but Jacoby ends up having a few more tier 2 units left. These players need to desperately sell off a couple Warrens and just build whatever they can. Can this guy hold on? Lots of firepower is still here from Jacoby.
Yeah, I think the DPS is too much right now. Those... yeah.
That is gonna be it, ladies and gentlemen. This guy stomping through the... Jacoby stomping through the tournament, not losing a single map. That is insane.
Jacoby playing so well. I think this guy was playing quite well until he decided to go in for that first attack instead of deciding to claim that mill for himself on that other side of the map. It sort of just became a bit of a teeter to both sides. And then Jacoby ended up taking the advantage there on the high ground. But well played from both players, really.
Dude, what a sick tournament. I had a blast. We knocked it out in under 2 hours. That's always really important, I think. You don't want to, get these guys wrapped up in something all day long. Really impressed by Jacoby. I'm kind of tooting my own horn a little bit because me and Gentleman were chatting a bit before the tournament. I was like, man, I know Jacoby's going to take this. And sure enough, he does. But that is it, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much, AV, for being here. There's going to be a ton more casting in the future. I hope you got the availability to join me on some other things as well. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. It's always a great time. Especially for these interesting tournaments. We sort of hinted on it before, the creativity of our community. And it's awesome that the players are also willing to sort of step out of the realms of like standard, tournament play to go for these really interesting, as you said, board game-esque game types.
Absolutely. So before we end it today, just a couple more things. I am doing the Feast again weekly, guys. That's 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. EST every Friday night. So please send me replays at ToothAndTailTV@gmail.com. We'll hang out there and have a good time. We've got another tournament coming up tomorrow that's not on my channel. It's going to be on Witty Pun 7 Twitch channel. You'll be able to find it no problem tomorrow. Same exact thing. We're going to figure out who the last faction leader is. So far we've got James as faction leader number 1. We've got Jacoby as faction leader number 2. And we're going to find out who faction leader number 3 is tomorrow. And keep in mind, everybody who competed today can join tomorrow's tournament. So this guy could still very well end up being a faction leader. Jacoby with the subscription. Thanks so much, man. And I saw the child subscribed too. I saw him using my emote, so if I didn't thank you so much for that as well. And I'm sorry, AV, what were you saying?
I just said hype for Jacoby's subscription.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And AV, man, anything you want to add? Definitely check out Gunrunner. You've got your Discord. If you want to send any links, man, feel free in the chat. That's out on Steam. Still in production at this phase, right?
True.
But I'm sure you appreciate player feedback in your Discord and that sort of stuff. And you were saying earlier you're really hyped about your soundtrack. You got that nailed down, which is awesome.
Absolutely.
But yeah, guys.
Again, just shout outs to Dimwitty here. He is such a talented artist. Check him out if you need artists commissions done. Definitely give him a follow.
Right on, guys. I think that's it. You're all a bunch of beautiful nerds. We will see y'all tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and we'll see you soon.
See ya.